Okay, so we have Unit 2, one-step equations. We're going to look at solving one-step equations. You'll need a calculator, piece of paper, scratch piece of paper, the notes page that's linked on Canvas to complete this kind of notes section. Looking at one-step equations. A one-step equation is an equation you can solve in only one step. Hence the name one-step equations. Once you have solved it, you'll find out the value of the variable that makes the equation true. So here, for example, we have x plus 5 equals 10. So really what we're solving is what number can replace x that would make that statement true. So what plus 5 would give me 10? In this case, it would be 5 plus 5 would equal 10, which means x equals 10. Now, there's a way to go about solving that. To solve one-step equation, we would use the inverse or opposite operation. That's kind of your last fill in the blank. There's inverse or opposite operation to get the variable by itself. So go ahead and fill in those blanks on your note sheet. This is a little review. Solving for x, we use the variable x to represent an unknown value. This is something we found out last unit, at the end of the last unit. All that is a number we don't know yet. And then when solving equations, we want to get the variable x by itself. That should be by itself. We can do that by using opposite operations. So when solving equations, we can move numbers across our equation by using opposite operations to cancel them out. Our opposite operations and what you'll fill in your note sheet is addition and subtraction. Those will work both ways. So addition and subtraction, and then multiplication, which will be seen as a dot, or division, which is a bar, or the division sign. Those work both ways. So the opposite of addition is subtraction. The opposite of subtraction is addition. Same thing for multiplication and division. So go ahead and fill those in. Okay, now we get into the steps of solving. So here we have our one-step equation, x plus 10 equals 35. And if you look, our first step is to draw a line down our equal sign. So we're just going to go ahead and draw a line straight down our equal sign. Next step is we're going to identify what side x is on. In this case, I see the x right here, so I know that x is on this side. I'm just going to put a little arrow up there to show it's on the left. And then we have to identify what needs to be moved to get x by itself. So we want just this x on this left side, which means this whole plus 10 is what we have to get rid of. And the next step says move it. Use opposite operations to cancel it out. If you do something to one side, you have to do it to the other. So I want you guys to think of this line down our equal sign as a mirror. So if we do something to one side, we have to do it to the other. And we do that by using opposite operations. So right now we have a plus 10. The opposite of plus is going to be subtraction, or minus 10. So we're going to subtract 10. And like I said with the mirror, if we do it to one side, we have to do it to the other. So we're going to subtract 10 on both sides. At that point, I'm going to draw a line because I'm done with my first step. Step 5, I need to perform the math on both sides. So on this left side, we have positive 10 minus 10. Math people are lazy and don't like to write 0. So if there's nothing in my hand, you have 0 objects in my hand, or 0 anything in your hand. So in this case, 10 minus 10 would be 0. We're just going to cancel it out because there's no point in putting a 0. If I wrote 1 plus 2 plus 0 is going to give me 3, the same way as 1 plus 2 will give me 3. So that 0 there really doesn't impact anything, so we don't write it, and we'll just cancel that out. Now, if you see, the only thing we have left is our x. So we're going to go ahead and bring our x down with our equal sign. And then on this side, we're going to type this into our calculator exactly how you see it. So what you're going to type in is 35 minus 10, which should get you 25. So right now we have x equals 25. Now, a way to go back and check your work is if we know x is 25, we can go ahead and plug that into our equation. So we have 25 plus 10. And if you type that into your calculator, you should get 35, which matches with our answer up here and matches here. So we know x equals 25. And that was our last step, was double checking our work. That is the front side of your note sheet. The back side of your note sheet has a couple more practice problems. I'm going to do 2 of those practice problems, and then you are in charge of the rest. Again, on the left side, you have your steps to solving, and on the right side, you have the problems that I want you to complete. The next one we're going to look at is 15 plus x equals 22. If you notice 15 plus x equals 22, our x and our number have been flip-flopped here. That is okay. We still want to get that x by itself. Again, it's on the left side. I drew my line. I identified what side it's on. I need to figure out what's going to be moved. In this case, it's this 15. Because there's no sign out here, we can assume that is a positive 15. If it was a negative, we would have our little negative sign out there. There's nothing out there, so we know that is a positive 15. And we need to move that positive 15. So the opposite of positive or plus is minus, and then we want to get rid of 15. So we're going to subtract 15 on one side. If we do it to one side, we have to do it to the other. I'm going to go ahead and draw my line. 15 minus 15 is 0. Again, my x can be brought down because that's the only thing left. And then I type in 22 minus 15, and I should get 7. So in this case, I get 7. Right? Yeah, 7. Okay. So I have x equals 7. I can go ahead and plug that back in. 15 plus 7 equals 22. If I check that in my calculator, if I type in 15 plus 7, I should get 22. I moved it, I performed the math, and I double checked my answer. So there's 2 problems worked out for you. The last one I'm going to work out is actually going to be x plus 9 equals 3. It's the second to last one, so if you want to go ahead and skip down to that one, you can go back and finish the other ones after this one. So this one's going to be a little tricky, and this is what's going to give people the most trouble. So we have, again, I drew my line. I figured out what side x is on. It's right here, so it's on the left. And I got to identify. I'm going to get rid of that positive 9. So I drew my line, identified, I picked out what needs to move, which is the positive 9. So the opposite of plus 9, again, would be subtract 9. If I do something to one side, I have to do it to the other. And I draw my line. So here's where I catch people, and here's where people make the mistake. We're going to bring down our x equals. If you type in 3 minus 9, you should get a negative 6. A negative number is all right to get in this case. A lot of people will see that negative number and be like, oh, I typed it in wrong. It has to be 9 minus 3 because I don't want a negative number. That would give me positive 6. So if we check positive 6, 6 plus 9 does not equal 3. It actually equals 15. So getting a negative number is all right here. Every time you type in the top number first and then the bottom number second. So in this case, it is a negative 6. So if I type that in my calculator, negative 6 plus 9 equals 3. It should equal 3. And I get my check mark there. So I moved it there and there. So you have 3 other problems to complete on this guided notes worksheet. Then what I want you to do is use those guided notes to take the quiz. The quiz can be found if you go to our Canvas page under assignments or in the modules. If you go to assignments under Unit 2, one-step equations, should be the last one on there. Unit 2, one-step equations intro. Again, this quiz is not for a grade. It's more or less just to see where you're at after one day. See who's catching on, see what mistakes I can catch, anything like that. It's 10 questions. You do have 3 attempts at this quiz, so if you don't like your score, you can take it again. Again, this won't go in the grade book. It's just kind of see where you're at.